Alright, so my name is Madison Outing. I'm a senior at UMPI looking to graduate soon. Woo. I am doing a video project for my EDU 387 class. This is hopefully going to wrap up the entire unit for me within this video. I'm going to be talking about inclusive education and my beliefs and philosophies on not only inclusive but just education, teaching in general. I swear I've tried to film this video like 3 times now. You would think I'd be a professional, but I'm really not. So if I get boring or I just start stuttering or don't know what to say, don't be surprised. Gonna be looking down at my notes a few times. Just a warning. Okay, so just a little bit about myself. I live here in Caribou. I'm always busy. I don't think there's a moment where I have time to breathe. I'm either at school, I'm at work, I play in an orchestra on the weekends, and I'm involved in another group that plays throughout the year. I play violin and cello, and I am involved in 2 groups in the summer, so I'm always busy. Love music as well as math, which is my major. I'm secondary math education. My goal is to teach high school when I graduate. Just love, algebra, geometry, love high school math, and I think part of the reason I chose math, well, I'll get into why I wanted to teach in the first place, but so that was a little bit about myself. I'm a busy person. I love music. I'm pretty basic. I don't like to talk about myself too much. So one of the questions is, why you chose to teach, and I get this question a lot, and each time I have to think about it, because for me there wasn't an experience that I went through and said, oh my god, I finally know what I want to do. I want to teach. Because I've just always wanted to teach. I was looking through a time capsule I made in 1st grade, and I found a packet, and it had questions in it like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? And I flipped through and I found a question that said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I look on the line, and surprisingly enough, it was teacher. Back in 1st grade, I knew I wanted to teach, and I thought it was crazy, finding this a few years ago, because I had no memory of it. I had no clue that even back then I wanted to teach, but I guess I just always have. And I guess I guess I've had experiences that justify the fact that I wanted to teach. For example, back in 4th grade, I helped my strings teacher for community service over harvest break, and I remember that very first day we worked with the 4th graders. Actually, it was when they had their instruments passed out for the first time, and all their faces were just so excited. I was almost emotional watching it, to be perfectly honest, because it brought back so many memories. I was one of those little students back in 4th grade who, had their instrument for the first time. I had something, something to take care of, something that was mine, and, something in my family that nobody else had, and I was so excited. And I remember the teacher saying, well, don't open your instrument until you get home, and of course you're 10 years old, you're really excited. I ended up opening mine on the bus ride home, not purposely, but I was so excited. I just wanted to show people, like, hey, look at my instrument. And seeing these kids going through the same experience was, it brought joy to me. And, even more so when I saw them learning how to play them for the first time, and I was able to walk around and, help correct their posture when they held their violin. Some of them held their violin on the wrong shoulder, and I would have to go over and tell them, well, your chin should be on the chin rest, so it should be on this shoulder, and I'd be like, oh, and they'll move their instrument to the other shoulder and keep on playing. They were really cute, but just the fact that I was able to take part in helping them begin that journey of learning that instrument, and being that role model was it was almost overwhelming, but it was exciting. It was inspiring for me, really, and I knew that I wanted to teach. That was kind of the first situation I'd ever been in, an educational world. I saw the teachers planning and work put in, and the process of picking the music, and trying to challenge the children, and practicing every day to master these songs for a concert, and then seeing the end result and how happy everyone was. Teaching is such a rewarding profession, and one that should be done for students, not for money or just for the sake of being able to teach. It's something that needs to come from deep down within yourself, and that's the kind of teacher I want to be, is an inspiring and one that supports students and really teaches them to love what they're doing instead of just teaching them to do something. As far as knowing that I wanted to teach math, that took a few more years. Almost my senior year in high school, actually, I was, what was I doing? Well, after I discovered that, hey, I really love high school math, there are a lot of people that really struggled. I find that once you hit high school, the algebra can really be tough for some people, and a lot of students would ask me, hey, can you help me? And so I helped students during study halls and in class, and I was always that math student that you wanted in your math group because, she knows everything. It's not really true, but I really liked it, and I think my teachers noticed it, and I think that they were really, first of all, they were all really great teachers in high school for me. I loved every single math teacher I had, and I think that positive experience for me was, really, in my mind, it formed an image of, the ideal teacher that I wanted to be. And having their support and encouragement as far as going into math meant a lot to me, and I think without that, I may not be where I am today in math. I think I'd still be undecided, what do I want to teach. So I think it was really my teachers in high school that pushed me towards teaching math. And I always see that so many people don't like math, and I thought, well, I want to go into teaching and I want to make a difference, and I really think that my love of math, I could turn that into a positive experience for a lot of students and make math that subject that they want to learn again. You know, that is my ultimate goal going into teaching is, well, I want to show these kids that you can like math or you can do math. And I want to be that positive teacher that's always remembered as, well, math was different in her class, you know? And I really, and you know, the experience with my teachers in high school and just having their support showed me that being a teacher is more than just, you know, teaching skills to students. It's being there for students and helping them realize where they want to go in life. You know, as secondary educators, I think that is extremely important. These kids are going to be going out into the world, and they're going to need direction. They're going to need that voice to tell them that they can do it. And as teachers, I think that we have a huge part in that. And you know, the idea of being able to be one of those people to do that just motivates me even more. And I think that is why I really want to go into teaching. Okay, one more point that I want to get to really quick is just to introduce. So I talked about why I want to be a teacher, and now I just want to get into, so as a teacher, what are my beliefs, and you know, how do I see education and teaching? And basically, well, before I made this video, I looked at my old teaching philosophy that I made way back in EDU 150, and of course, that was when I first was introduced to the field, and all my ideas were new, and I hadn't had much experience in classrooms. And you know, I kind of formulated the philosophy somewhat blind. Now that I've been in classrooms and I've actually had a chance to teach and work with students and discover different methods and you know, just really be able to think about, well, how does education work? Some of my ideas have expanded from my old philosophy, some maybe have changed a little bit, but there are some general things that I still agreed with, and it's the fact that as far as education needs to be a variety of things. It doesn't need to be, at least as one teacher, I can't just be teaching math 24/7. Well, it wouldn't really be 24/7. It'd be, you know, every week. But you can't just be teaching one subject. It has to be incorporating other subjects and real life aspects into the education. I think we need to be, especially in secondary education, we really need to be polishing up on some skills for when students go out into the real world and they're going to be facing challenges that they need to have some information about. And like, for example, in my math courses, math relates to a lot of situations in life. We use math almost every day, and some people don't know that. But there are many things that I could do to teach math besides giving the students an equation and numbers and saying, well, solve this. I think I have to incorporate in some way a real life situation that students are going to relate to or going to need. in order to be successful in life. For example, going into a bank and working with loans and money is very important. Everyone is going to encounter it at some point in life. They want to buy a house or a car, and so why not take that and put it into a lesson or two of mine and have the students working with something that they're actually going to be doing in life, not just, well, here's what a percent does and here's the graph, and that's boring and students don't get the point of it. So for me, I think learning really needs to be hands-on and creative, and it can't just be myself as a teacher up front talking to them. It has to be that they find motivation within themselves to learn. They have to want to find information on their own. I think as teachers we need to instill that in students, and I think that lecturing is not the way to go about doing it. I also think that social aspects need to be worked on in schools as well. I think we need to be making lessons to encourage interaction between students, because as we all know, it's going to happen in the real world in any job, that you're going to need to be able to talk to other people and solve problems cooperatively. And what better way to do that than to incorporate it in lessons in school? It happens their entire life. As far as who learns, I think everyone in school learns, not just students but teachers. There may be points where we try lessons as teachers and they don't work, and we need to be continually searching for better teaching methods to really make learning for students all that it can be. And students are always going to be learning how to solve problems, learning how to find information, learning how they learn it themselves. I think that it happens on both ends. The teacher and the students are all learning in a school environment, and and even outside of school, I don't think learning happens just in school. I think learning happens all the time, and you can't really say, well, education only happens in a classroom, because it's not true. Education happens for someone's entire life, or it should anyway. So basically, a little introduction and thoughts from myself. And right now I just want to get more into inclusive education. Basically how I see inclusive education, my thoughts and opinions is, I think education needs to happen for all students. If any student is capable of being in a general education classroom, then there's no way we are able to deny them of that. Of course, there are going to be situations where there are students who, you cannot include in a general education classroom 100% of the time, in some cases, maybe not at all, because the level that they function just may not be enough to keep them in that classroom. There's only so much as general educators that we can do for some of those students who maybe have suffered a brain injury or something severe along those lines. I think those are some of the students that maybe we can't include, but they still need an education. Of course, they just will not be in a general education classroom, but I do feel that students need to have that experience of taking on information and working in a social environment, whether it is special ed or general education classrooms. And as far as what I need to do as a teacher, of course I need to be prepared for those students who I do include in my class with disabilities, and for general education students. It's important to look up if you're not aware of the disability. It's important to have that information as a teacher, to cooperate with professionals and especially the parents. I think it's very important to really include the families in the child education. That's what's going to help them and motivate them to continue learning and stay in school. And for me as a teacher, to create that environment that they are able to learn in, and that the students comfortable and feel support, and to eliminate as much discrimination as possible. That's going to be, for me as a teacher, that would be one of my most important goals for the child in my classroom. And also getting into the curriculum. Of course, the curriculum's going to it's going to need, wow, I'm having a really hard time right now. But let me just refocus myself here. So where was I going? Okay, and some of my last points are going to be in my future classroom. Basically what I would do for changing the curriculum for the child. Basically, the child needs to have some sort of accommodations or modifications if needed, and what will they be. Basically how I will influence my students, and how me as a person will affect as far as my beliefs and motivation of teaching, how that's going to affect my students, not just my disabled or included students, but every student. And sorry, I have to look down at my notes. And basically how I want to be remembered. May have mentioned it earlier, but I want to be that teacher who was always there for any student, who was willing to talk to them and willing to push them to be more because I knew they could do more. Of course, I want to be that respected teacher, that the teacher that would do anything to help a student. Is basically how I want to be remembered. Lastly, notes again. And last point that's going to be discussed is RTI, and just basically going through the use of RTI, and including students using that method of identifying problems and then trying to modify work and find methods of helping that child be able to accomplish their work and be successful in a classroom, even if they're not able to work with the rest of the students. I think I have created somewhat of an outline. I hope it makes sense. In my next few videos, of course going to be going into a little more detail on each one of these topics, but that's just an overview for what's to come. I hope this first video wasn't too boring for you. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Thank you.